To all the students, if you could do a project or an adventure with one of your parents or a mentor, and it could be something maybe you're really, really passionate about, what would you imagine or what would you want it to be?
And to all of the parents or potential mentors in the room, if you could collaborate on a passion project or an adventure with the youth in this room or in your life, what would that look like?
I like to think that if you put your ideas for that question and put it into action, that you can create this wonderful bond between a youth and a parent or a mentor. And that bond is going to last for your entire life. And I think that the initiatives can have a positive impact on our communities and inspire others. And it might sound lofty, but maybe even change the world.
As you can tell, my dad is a big proponent of parents and kids spending quality time together. And when my older brother turned 10, he realized he wanted to capitalize on this one-on-one bonding time with his son. So he gave my brother the gift of bike riding across Canada together. And over 15 years, they would bike across Canada, one leg at a time, picking up 1 year where they left off the year before. We decided we wanted to do our own annual adventure, and so when I turned 10, we chose that we were going to go to a different city every year, and we would busk. My dad would play the guitar, I would play the fiddle, and all the money that we would raise, we would donate to a local charity in that city.
I should tell you that our first year maybe didn't go quite as smooth as expected. We had chosen to go to Portland and raise money for the Oregon Humane Society. We set up right downtown, right on the edge of a little park, and we played for about 40 minutes, and we raised a whopping 65 cents. And I was like, Hali was quite young, and so I was like trying to put on a brave dad face, but inside, I was like, this is a disaster. But we didn't let it derail us. And we looked over and we saw that there was a lot of people in the inside of the park, and we said, you know what? I said to Hali, let's just go right in the middle of everyone. And Hali was like, really? And I was like, sure. I was anything but sure. But we did it, and we went in the middle, and then the magic started to set in. People started to notice us, and they read our sign and what we were doing, and they listened to our music, and all of a sudden, more and more change get thrown into our guitar case. It took us all the way to our third day and our last day when we met with the people from the Humane Society, and Hali handed over this big, heavy, and very impressive bag of change, every single cent that we had raised. Over the years since then, our mission has just kind of got more and more special each year. There's been plenty of challenges. Every adventure has challenges and stuff, but our bond has strengthened by tackling each one of those every year. We went to Winnipeg and we raised money for the Children's Hospital, and we went down to San Diego for drought relief. And we actually came to Victoria and we raised money and awareness for cleaning up plastic in the ocean. And the list has gone on for 10 years.
And over those years, our guiding motto has been that small change can make a big difference. And we were really proud of the literal change getting thrown into our guitar case that we were putting forward to make that difference. And as the years went on, we started to hear stories. Other people who had started initiatives inspired by our story. And it was really humbling because what started as a dad and daughter just wanting to have a fun adventure together and do a little something for the world grew a little bit bigger and began to snowball. And we wondered what would happen if we really put our energy and efforts into encouraging others to take on initiatives of their own.
And then everything kind of really started to gel about a year and a half ago, when it led to us creating the Tidbits of Change Foundation. We're co-founders of it. And our focus of that foundation is to encourage youth to do a project of passion with their parent or their mentor. When we started to do it, and we started to lay things out, we established youth bursaries, financial awards, that we could give to the most inspiring youths out there with the most inspiring stories that we heard. We started to talk about doing school visits and talking to students and parent groups, encouraging initiatives, telling them about the bursaries, and maybe even help get them started.
And so when we started talking about these school visits, we wondered if we could combine it with another idea we'd been toying with of a different adventure, which was skiing all of the ski areas in BC in one winter. And so our idea was that we would ski during the day, and then we would visit a school in the afternoon or a parent-teacher meeting in the evening and share our story.
We had a pretty decent list of ski areas to start with. When I was working with Alpine Canada and the Canadian ski team, a ski buddy of mine had challenged me to see which one of us would ski all of BC and Alberta through the years. Hali and I, we started to map out the possibility of skiing all of BC all in one single winter, which was a feat that we were told had never been done before.
And so on January 25th of last winter, we set out from Terrace, BC, and we skied at Shames Mountain, which is the northwesternmost ski hill in the province. And from there we went on to ski all 44 ski areas. And let me tell you, I did not know what I was getting myself into. When my dad and I first brought up the idea, I was kind of like, okay, great, so this will be like a couple weeks, we'll be done, it'll be great, super easy. No, it was a 6-week ski trip, transitioning every day for 44 days to a different place. But every place that we went to along the way offered us something new that the others didn't, and each place had a really special, unique character to it. Even Bella Coola, which was kind of this place in the middle of nowhere where once you got there, you had to get dragged behind a snowmobile to even make it to the lift. And then the lift was this handle tow with just 5 handles on it, but it's the longest handle tow in North America. And we rode that all day.
We did find snow, obviously, but I don't know if you recall last winter, but it was a really interesting snow year. About a quarter of the way through our journey, a good portion of the province lost all of their snow midwinter. It created some pretty interesting challenges for us to try to find snow, but we kind of took it as an extra challenge. And what happened because of that is it led us to this path that we were on where we found like really, truly one-of-a-kind experiences. There were some places where they ran the lifts just for us, just so we could get our ski runs there. We had ski patrol that would take us to the top of the mountain by snowmobile. We had a couple of owners that would get snowcats and take us to where there was snow so that we could get our runs in, just so that we could check off every list in every ski area in the province.
We also got to tour in this kind of little tiny home that was designed just for the ski lifestyle. It had ski racks and even a little locker at the back to put our boots in and all of that. And that was a really cool part of the experience. But another thing that we had to deal with along the way was sharing this on social media. And neither of us are particularly social media savvy. I don't think my dad had even heard of Instagram, to be honest. And I definitely was not very savvy myself, but we wanted to share our story online, and so one way we did that was by doing what we called chairlift chatters. And at each place we went, we would interview a local legend at the ski hill, and they would tell us their story from their ski hill as we rode up the chair or the T-bar with them.
And I think those were some of our most memorable moments with some amazing people, like Rob Boyd at Whistler, who shared a story of his crazy warm-up run before he went out and won a World Cup race there, or Nancy Green at Sun Peaks, or Lifty telling us about their first day of work, or a ski patrol sharing some of their biggest challenges that they've ever had.
And when we shared these stories to social media, they ended up garnering a lot of attention, and it was really awesome because it connected us with a larger audience, and it connected our audience with even more inspiring stories.
So our journey through the province looked something like this. Just an 8,000-kilometer dad and daughter ski road trip for 44 days. And if you can imagine, while you're sitting in your chairs, if you stood up really quick and then sat right back down, and you did that 10 or 20,000 times over the next 44 days, that's what our legs did. But I can tell you that every day and every turn brought us closer together. And what a gift that was for me as a parent. Mentorship is this wonderful two-way street where we got to learn more about each other all the way through and more from each other as well on all 44 straight days.
And we learned a lot about each other. I learned lots of stuff from my dad's past that was super interesting. I also learned that he's an incredibly noisy chewer in the car, and for some reason, on day 43, it was particularly loud. But we made it through, and we had so much fun that we've decided to do it again this year, but in Alberta. So in 2 months from now, we'll be heading out to ski all 40 ski areas across the province.
We're super excited about this mission of Skiing Alberta.
And when we were listening to the TED Talks from last year, my dad heard a really interesting TED Talk from Ryan.
Yeah, we really liked what Ryan Knighton said last year at your TED Talks here last year when he was talking about being blind and going to a rattlesnake roundup. I think when he said, the best experiences never seem to invite you. And I think that that's very, very true. But when you're able to invite yourself onto those best experiences, you know it right away because it's really special and it's really powerful. We had 3 applicants this past year for our bursary program with our foundation that I think embody that notion as well. Our bursary winners for this year include a student from Esquimalt, Felix, who has dedicated a tremendous amount of time and energy, along with his parents, into research for Blau syndrome. They came together on this really heartfelt project when, unfortunately, Felix's younger sister passed away from this really rare disease just before her 7th birthday. Felix is on a mission this year to invoke 1 million acts of love before the end of the year. It's all part of his and his parents' Lexi's Legacy initiative. It's a really inspiring story, and I think it's really well worth everyone checking out.
Another story that we heard and loved was from Kayla, who recently started at the U of A, but when she was in high school, she collaborated with her dad and her grandfather. You see, Kayla is a really competitive and enthusiastic water skier and wakeboarder, but she noticed that there was a lack of equipment for adaptive athletes in her sport, and she wanted to fill that gap. So Kayla took it upon herself to design the equipment with her dad, and then she went and worked in her grandfather's woodworking shop with him to build the equipment so that adaptive athletes could experience the sport in an entirely new way.
And then there was Cassie, a student in Kamloops, who noted that there was a real lack of warm clothing for others who are less fortunate in her city. So she took it upon herself to drum up donations in coordination with a spectacular Christmas light show that she worked on with her father. And then over the years since then, she has collaborated with her mom to expand this thing into an annual charity drive for a hospice, which has impacted the entire city. These are beautiful initiatives and beautiful stories, but when you talk to the people behind them, you immediately see how their collaborations have brought them closer together. Their initiatives have had this wonderful impact on their communities, and they've inspired others, and they've impacted the entire world.
And so that brings us back to that first question that we asked, which is, if you could collaborate on a passion project or an adventure, what would that look like? What could it be? The stories you've heard here today, we hope will have a ripple effect that will inspire others to carry on their own initiatives. And your story might just be part of that wave. So what will your story be? Thank you.
Thank you.